welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making red velvet cupcakes. So I preheated my oven to gas mark 4 and I have put out my bun cases into muffin trays. I like muffin trays better than the bun trays because they're deeper. Anyway, to start off with, we start with 150 grams of caster sugar and 60 grams of spread in our bowl, and we're going to cream it till it's light and fluffy. Ooh, I switched it on. There we go. After you've creamed your butter and sugar together for a while, about 4 or 5 minutes, it's time to add your egg. So I've got 1 large egg here, which I'm going to put into my mixture. Now, you will find, just bear with me a second, here we go. Ooh, shell going in, get my shell in there to grab it. Hurrah, there we go, out it comes. What you will find is that the mixture isn't very creamy after 5 minutes, mainly because the margarine or butter content is less than the sugar content, so the sugar will make it seize up slightly, so it won't be as light and fluffy as it would normally be, but still do it for 5 minutes because it makes a difference. Once you put your egg in, it's time to mix it again. Now, if it's sticking to the sides, take a spatula and push it into the middle, because we need this to incorporate into our sugar and butter. So just keep going, speed it up as you go. Give it a couple of minutes until all the lumps have disappeared. And once the lumps have disappeared, stop your machine. Now we're going to add some flavourings and colourings to our mixture, and this is the time when we need to add our cocoa. Now you have to be careful with this, simply because you will get it everywhere, this, and it is red food colouring. Now the type that you can get in the shops is the Dr. Oetker. This is out of a professional cake shop, so I don't need to use as much, but if you're using Dr. Oetker, you'll need a full tube of the red food colouring that could be purchased, so be aware of that. If you're using food colouring that is a professional food colouring like this one, you won't need quite as much, about half a teaspoon of it. Now, you will get covered in this, there's no way around it, I'm afraid, so be prepared. This is the food colouring I've got. So I'm going to take about half a teaspoon of this, if I can. Yes, I can. So that's roughly half a teaspoon. We're going to put that into our cocoa powder, along with vanilla extract. And 15 mils is roughly 1 tablespoon. So here we go with 15 mils. And now we need to mix this together into a paste. So taking a teaspoon, don't worry, because we're going to add a little bit more vanilla to it if it looks a bit dry, which it does. So I need to add a little bit more. Now, if you are using the Dr. Oetker variety, it will be a lot looser, simply because there's more volume. There's about 30 mils of the Dr. Oetker as opposed to half a teaspoon of my red food colour in that pot. Okay, what we're going to do now is put it into our egg. Our egg, our sugar and our margarine mixture. Once you've got that in there, it's time to start mixing it all in. So switch it on, set it off slowly, and then turn it up. And you should see the red colour develop. Okay, let's have a look, see how we're doing. So now is the time to evaluate. If you've got 30 ml of Dr. Oetker food colouring in there, you're fine, go with that. If, like me, you've got a different type of food colouring, assess whether you think it's red enough for you. This looks a little bit on the brown side, so because of the cocoa powder. So I'm going to add a little tiny bit more of this food colouring. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon here. I'm going to mix this in. Just about a 1/4 teaspoon, because this is strong stuff. If anybody knows ways of trying to get it out of here without causing a mess, let me know. Comments in the section below, please. Mix this food colouring in. Okay. So I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl to make sure my ingredients have been incorporated well. As you can see here now, what can happen is that the bottom of the bowl can sometimes not get incorporated as well as you would expect it to. I know I keep saying it, but please, it does get everywhere. I have been there. I've had it everywhere, and you can't get it off no matter how hard you try. So next we're going to be incorporating flour. 150 grams of self-raising flour. I'm going to put about half of it in, and on top of that I'm going to put a little bit of the yogurt, so about half the yogurt as well, and we're going to pop that in to our mixture and mix it gently. Just fold it round and through, round and through, and just keep going till it's all incorporated. Now I have to say, these are lovely, light and fluffy. Everybody who tries them says they are gorgeous, so we're in for a treat with these guys, I have to say. I adapted this recipe from a magazine years ago. I can't even remember which magazine it was, to be fair. But I adapted the recipe a little bit. They call for plain flour, so I use self-raising flour just because it's a lighter texture, and the lighter the better. It is a velvet cake after all. So just keep mixing in, round and through. Seemingly as well, the red velvet comes from America, as we all know, but it was seemingly made in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York, and they claim to be the first people to have made it. However, there is a food colouring company, I think it's Aston, you might have to Google that one yourselves, that reckon it was them that made it. However, I don't mind, because I think it's gorgeous, whoever made it. Okay, and the last bit of this going in. So, last of my 150 grams of self-raising flour going in here now. Just remember to get rid of all your lumps. We don't want lumps in our mixture. And the last of your yogurt now, and then mix it in. This has to be one of the lightest cakes I've ever had, to be fair. It is lovely. You can't taste the acid from the yogurt in there at all. It's just delectable. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. If you want another one of my light cakes, if you have a look in that top corner, you'll see a link for Victoria sandwich cake. They are lovely as well. Right. Once we've done that and we've got all our flour and yogurt in, or buttermilk if you're using that, or sour cream if you want to use that, you could use that as well. It's time to add our last ingredients. Now our last ingredients in this instance are going to be half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and a teaspoon and a half of a white vinegar. I haven't got white wine vinegar, so I'm using apple cider vinegar, and I've used it before and it's great. It'll froth up pop it into your cake. You will smell the vinegar, don't worry. I know I keep saying don't worry, but please don't worry. It does disappear, and all it does is create a lovely fluffy cake. So don't be scared, just pop it in and go for it. And give it a good mix, but don't over mix it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this mixture in my muffin cases. So pop it to one side and get your muffin cases along with a scoop. I think this is like a 1.5 inch, 2 inch scoop. Can't remember, to be fair. It's the medium sized one. And I'm just going to put 1 scoop of the mixture in each of the cases. And this should fill 12 cases. I'm going to put this in the oven, gas mark 4, for 20 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
My red velvet cakes are now out of the oven. As you can see, they've rose lovely, or they've risen lovely. What I'm going to do now is make some cream cheese frosting for them. So we have here 250 grams of full fat cheese. Now, I have tried using low fat cream cheese in the past. Don't do it. Doesn't work. It is far too light. It needs the fat content for this to work. I have tried it with it and it was really watery. Just don't do it. Take it from me. You're better off doing it this way. Oops. That's 250 grams of cream cheese with 130 grams of softened full fat butter. Again, I wouldn't use anything else if I was you. It's purely for the flavour, this, and because it sets up quite hard as well. We're looking to make them as hard as possible, the icing. And if you use a spread or something similar, then it won't hit the stiffness that you need for icing. So be warned on that one. So I'm going to mix these two together first of all. So again, switch your electricity on, always helps. And away we go. You'll need to scrape down your blade. So give it a good mix. When you think it's okay, switch it off. Take a look at it, and we're going to put in a teaspoon of vanilla. You can eyeball this, it's not the end of the world. If you like a little bit more, pop a little bit more in. Okay, and we're going to scrape down the sides and then pop it in again. Hopefully, unlike me, without getting covered in it. Okay, once you've done that, scrape down your blade and take your blade off, because we're going to put in our icing sugar. And there's nothing worse than icing sugar when you put it in a mixer. I've got 130 grams of icing sugar going in. Right, when you get to this consistency, what we need to do is get rid of all the cream cheese lumps. So we're going to switch to and as you whip it, it'll thicken up, as you can see here. Okay, what we're going to do now is take this and put it in the fridge for half an hour to an hour, and then we're going to pipe our red velvet muffins. So this is my red velvet cake. Now, look at that.